So, you've got a story from when you were a child. Would you like to tell us about it?
Yes, so when I was about 6 years old, I had the mumps. But you think when you have the mumps, you have like a high fever. And you got to think, oh, it might have been that.
Yeah.
But for 3 nights on the trot, I was visited by an old man. He had like a very like old-fashioned like 1900s like cardigan, like typical old man trousers, big like moustache, spoke in an Irish accent, and he'd appear over my bed and he'd put his hand on my head, like cold hand.
So it was kind as well. It wasn't like scary.
He was smiling and he'd put his hand on my head and he'd go, "You all right there, boy? All right, boy," in like a real broad, like sort of Dublin Irish accent. And I thought, oh, that's weird. But I knew my grandparents were Irish, so I was like, oh, you might know my grandparents. So every time he'd walk back to the wall, I'd watch him go to the wall and then just like drizzle, like not disappear, but like it'd go like it was dark in the corner. And I used to have like a little tub chair in the corner of my room where all my toys were and that. And he just sort of like fade out and disappear. Right. And then I told my grandma about it, maybe on the 4th or 5th day when I was feeling a bit better. And she was washing up and she dropped a dish in the sink and turned around and said, "Say that again." And I described him again and she's like, "That's my dad." She showed me pictures of her dad, like my great granddad. And it was him, like I recognised the moustache and everything, but in the pictures he had different clothes on. Right. So he had like flat cap in one, and one where he's posing with a shovel in a field. Because like he was a travelling man, so he come from like a travelling background, like caravans and stuff.
So if you'd have seen the picture, you would have seen the same clothes.
Yeah, I'd seen the same clothes and everything, but it was weird. So when I saw him, he was wearing like a brown cardigan, and my grandma was like, "That's what I used to wear around the house." Right. That was like lounging clothes. He used to have like slippers, pipe. That was just sort of like, he used to sit in his own little chair, things like that. And I was like, it's weird because when I saw him, he was wearing them. In none of the pictures my grandma showed me did he have them clothes on.
So that's proper affirmation that that is someone that existed.
Yeah. I mean, she was like deeply religious, like, Irish Catholic, come from that sort of Irish Catholic background. And I was sort of brought up in it myself as well. So, when I was a kid, I did believe in God, believed in and she was very, very spiritual as well. And she believed that he was like looking out for me because I was like really poorly with it, back in like the early 90s, late 80s. Mumps was a massive thing in England, and I got really poorly with it. I got really like swollen neck and everything. I was high fever. So, but then you get skeptics and say, "Oh, because when you have a fever, you get delirious, don't you?" But no, like she believes that he was looking out for me. He was looking out, yeah. But I didn't see him after that. But it always stuck with me. Just that thing of like, how would I know what? Because he had different clothes on. Yeah. In none of the pictures was he wearing that stuff. Normally, if you see something when you're a kid, and then like you sort of hallucinate it, but I had nothing to go on. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
a mystery, that one.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
No problem. No problem. Good to talk to you.